I'm joined by Shane Tremble, the General Manager of Corporate Services from the Endeavour Drinks Group. Shane, it was recently announced that Woolworths is leaving the drinks sector. What does this mean and why has it happened?
Well, the announcement is just that at the moment. It's an announcement. It's very much business as usual for the next 12 to 18 months for Endeavour. I need to emphasise that. The second thing I need to say is that the separation of Endeavour Drinks and the remainder of the Woolworths Group has yet to be put to our Woolworths shareholders, and that's going to happen probably sometime later this calendar year. We won't be proceeding with anything until we receive the approval of shareholders. But yeah, that's the intention. The intention is to separate Endeavour Drinks from the remainder of the Woolworths Group, and that's something that's going to benefit the shareholders of both businesses, we believe, and something that's going to kind of free both Endeavour and Woolworths up to pursue their own strategic directions.
So, is there an intention of Woolworths to sell off that division?
The plan at the moment is that there is to be a public float. So a demerger means that Endeavour Drinks will be floated on the stock exchange as a separate company. In itself, it will be a very significantly sized company with a market cap of somewhere around $10 billion, which will make it bigger than Qantas, for example. However, if somebody comes along with an offer, then it is incumbent upon the Woolworths board to consider that offer if it is in the best interest of the shareholders. But right now, we're paying on a float.
What have been the biggest changes to retail in the last 20 years?
Wow, that's a big question. I think if I were to summarise what the big changes are, I think you could say that it is the challenge for retail in responding to the different ways that customers want to transact with us, and that's largely the advent of digital retail. People don't want to be constrained by where they are, what they're doing, trading hours. They want the flexibility to shop at any time, at a time that suits them, and that puts a significant amount of strain on traditional forms of retail, and something that we've had to adapt to very quickly over the past decade or so. I think that the digital world is growing very rapidly. I said in my talk today that something like $25 billion worth of transactions are taking place in the digital world, all up. In our world, I think we've gotten a little behind the curve because of the nature of the product we sell. It's quite heavy, it's bulky, it's fragile. So moving wine through the supply chain in particular has been a bit of a challenge, but we're coming to grips with it now. And obviously the logistics and fulfilment part is getting that right is a very important part of the consumer experience. So it's something that we paid a fair bit of attention to.
What are the main challenges for the drinks sector specifically?
There are a lot of challenges. Meeting customers' changing expectations is one, and particularly in the wine sector where the lead times, the enormous amount of capital one needs to invest in the production of wine, the cash flow difficulties that ensue that comes from planting vineyards and building great big heaps of winery infrastructure that are only used for a very short part of the year. The lag in time between the time the product's made and the time the product is sold, all of that places pretty significant constraints on the industry as a whole. That means as retailers we need to respond to that, and we need to ensure that we've got the right level of data to assist our suppliers and assist producers further down the supply chain to assist them to make the kinds of decisions that they need to make in order to make those investments profitable.
What changes can we expect in the coming years, domestically and overseas, for the drink sector?
I think you'll see we're already seeing the entry of some major international retailers into the Australian market, and obviously Aldi's been here for the best part of 20 years now, I think. But Kaufland are on the way, Amazon are on the way. So those large digital disruptors who are operating on a global scale will enter the market, and it's important that local Australian businesses have the capacity and the technological nous to be able to respond to that competitive challenge. And we do that by making sure that we're delivering on our customers' expectations. And that involves everything from the user experience that they have on their website to the range that we curate and offer to them, to, as I said, the experience that they have when they receive their delivery.
Some people say the drinks retail sector has been slow to adapt to the online scene. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, as I said, the product we sell doesn't lend itself to very easily getting through a logistics supply chain, particularly at speed, so it's challenging. It's a challenging product category to sell online. If you're selling tickets to the movies, or if you're selling books, it's an awful lot easier to move product from one place to the other. When you're selling great big heavy 12 kilo boxes of wine full of fragile glass, it's a bit more of a challenge. So fair to say we have been a little slower from that, probably compared to some other categories, but we're catching up rapidly. I think we offer our customers a range of shopping experiences now that largely meet their needs, and we're offering even more convenient options for them, such as with things like express delivery. So order now and you've got delivery in half an hour in most of the metro areas in the country. So I think we've caught up quite rapidly.
And Shane, how much of a threat is the anti-alcohol lobby?
It's a significant threat. It's a significant threat to our social licence to operate as an industry, and nobody has a problem with the debate on alcohol, which says that moderation is key. That alcohol, if used properly, as a balanced part of someone's lifestyle, can add an awful lot of pleasure and enjoyment to one's lifestyle. There's 50 years of evidence that indicates that drinking alcohol in moderation is actually beneficial to health, has a beneficial effect on all-cause mortality. However, there's an argument being prosecuted at the moment that is trying to make the case that any level of alcohol consumption is harmful. And if we have alcohol being conflated with tobacco, and the same kinds of restrictions placed on the wine industry, for example, as have been placed on the tobacco industry, well, it's a very short road to destruction for the industry. So I think as an industry, it's incumbent upon us to make sure that there's balance in those arguments, and the policy framework that surrounds our industry is balanced and not unduly restrictive.